Welcome back to Melodic Memories of LIGHTSMONARCH. I'm Casey once again. Here today we're going to talk about a concert that I went to recently, just last Friday actually. It was the Kiss of Death Tour 2, which took place August 23rd in Calgary, Alberta, at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. It was In This Moment, Ice Nine Kills. They were the headliners. Amazing bands. Gotta say, definitely love their stuff. Though, for In This Moment, they were a band that I never knew too much about. Always respected. Complete respect to Maria Brink and her team. Holy hell is she ever talented. One of the queens of rock, alongside like Lizzie Hale and Taylor Momsen of the Pretty Reckless. Like these amazing artists, these rock goddesses, if you will, they just are unlike any other. And In This Moment, insane to see live. I've heard some rumors that she has a lisp and doesn't sound great live when she sings, and I gotta say, didn't hear a lick of that. It was clear as day, it was pretty much as if I was playing the record live. It sounded just as good as the actual recorded album itself. But apart from that, Ice Nine Kills put on a wicked show too. Not to undermine them at all, because I like Ice Nine Kills. Granted, I shouldn't say more than, but I knew more Ice Nine Kills than I did In This Moment. In This Moment, I was supposed to see years ago at this point, but the tour was canceled because of good old COVID. Gotta love it. Fucking what a time to be alive. But Ice Nine Kills, when I seen them last, it was during the Trinity of Terror tour, in where they were opening, and I believe they only opened for me. Because I seen 2 dates of the Trinity of Terror tour, and I believe Ice Nine Kills opened both times. Granted, they were switching. It was a headlining show for all 3 of the bands, being Black Veil Brides, Motionless in White, and Ice Nine Kills, which I'm sure I've brought this tour up before, but it's one of the ones that just stand out the most to me. And on top of all that, it's really crazy to see how just in a couple of years, Ice Nine Kills have just blown up and grown. Like, they were already getting pretty big at the point of Trinity of Terror tour. I know they've been around a lot longer, but since they've been doing this horror thing and it really took off, it's wicked to see how much they just grew. Like, from not only their fan base, I'm sure has grown, but their production. Like, I was amazed to see just the overall production of Ice Nine's set. Like, the props that they had looked far better than the ones that they were using in Trinity of Terror tour, actually looking like they were kind of real. Like, I know they're still just prosthetics and whatever, but it's not like they went to a Halloween store and got them this time. Like, it kind of looked like in the first time when I seen them for Trinity of Terror. The Kiss of Death tour this time around, it looked like they actually had prosthetics that one would find in an actual horror movie that isn't like a, C-list one. But apart from going on about them, because there's more I can talk about there with all that they did, I want to touch on the openers as well, being Avatar. Let's start with there, because the next one's a little bit controversial, and I've got something to say about that, definitely. But with Avatar, what a band. They're definitely a little strange, and I don't mean that in any rude way either. They're just different. And I gotta say, I really quite enjoyed their whole style, their look, their aesthetic. Everything that they brought to the table really was interesting to see. Their whole freak show aesthetic, I guess. Because even when they were playing, the singer, don't know his name, but they are Swedish, so even if I knew his name, don't know if I'd be able to pronounce it properly without offending. But Avatar themselves, they put on a wicked show. I have a coworker that was showing me one of their songs, and it was one that I was like, I wonder if they'll play it. Found out it was their, second most popular on Spotify, second or third. And sure enough, they played it. I recorded it. Need to send it to her still, but it's definitely living on my phone. And they're a band that I want to check out a little bit more because they're very unique. They have kind of like a very gruff sounding voice, but then in other songs they don't. They go all over the place. I don't know much about them, but seeing them live definitely is something that I need to delve into their actual catalog now. Inspiration, if you will. On top of that as well, Avatar, they had their welcome to the freak show moment where they actually told everyone in the crowd that, like, glad to have you a part of the freak show. And it just was, again, unity found within music. Being there for live music, nothing ever tops it, because it's just everyone that, gets together, and everyone in that crowd was different. For them to all feel together and unified as a quote unquote freak show, it sounds kind of silly, but it's one of the most beautiful things about music, and God, it just made the night great. And they were the second opening act. The first opening act, though, is a little more controversial, being TX2. Now, what can I say about this band that hasn't already been said? They're new. They're new on the scene. Newer, at least. I shouldn't say brand new, because they've been at it for a couple years, but TikTok really blew them up. Or rather, the singer there, he really blew up because of TikTok. Just, manipulating the algorithm just exactly as one needs to gain success nowadays. And I will say, I really quite enjoyed their set. As skeptical as I was because of all the backlash and hate that he gets online, that they get online, it's not just a one-person band. There is a, singer, guitarist, drummer, and bassist, as a normal band would have. But, they have the very emo aesthetic, very... Essentially, like, if you were to find an old emo band, but put them in modern times, is essentially what TX2 is. And I don't really have anything bad to say about them. I know that some people say that their songs sound like other people's songs, other bands' songs. Sometimes more than one would think they should, because I know inspiration is one thing and then copying is another. But with TX2, I will say the singer for sure, because he's the only one that I really got to talk to and see a little bit more of, as my friend that I went with knew quite a lot about him, just like from following him on different socials and stuff and being an actual fan. I will say I'm optimistic for the future of TX2. Like, he seems like an amazing guy. Just overall rounded, well-spoken dude. Reminds me a lot of a young Andy Bierzak. Might be controversial to say that, but he just, stands up for himself and stands up for what he believes is right. And honestly seems like he's a great dude. Like, I don't see why there's so much hate for him. I know he's a bit much in the actual sense of TX2, but that's a persona. You gotta put on a persona for your career. Like, he's just feeding into what you need to feed into if you want to get noticed. He's being different. He's being that factor, and I think that's why we're seeing him start to blow up. Or them start to blow up, rather. Hell, they even released a single with Ice Nine Kills just the other day. At this point, it's still brand new. Maybe like a week old, if that. But Mad, featuring Ice Nine Kills and TX2, it was definitely a song that surprised me. It shocked me when I heard that something big was coming. I was like, no way. Are they actually going to do a song together? And sure enough, they fucking did, and I quite enjoyed it. I know TX2 isn't going to be for everyone, and regardless of what I say or what anyone else says, even regardless of how much they stand up for themselves, they're still going to get hated on. And I feel like they just have to accept that and keep on pushing forward and not let the hate stop them, because I was there in person, got to chat with him, along with the other band members a little bit, and the support for them, wow. Like, there were so many people in that crowd of many different ethnicities, different sexuality, like, different people. Everyone their own individual person there for him. And some of the people I talked to literally only were TX2 fans. Like, there was this couple that I talked to, and they said they had to start listening to Ice Nine Kills and Avatar and In This Moment just because they wanted to enjoy the show. Because TX2, they wanted to see him and their performance first and foremost, and it makes sense with such a rabid fan base that they are getting hated on so much. But enough about that. I will just say, to kind of cap that up, TX2, they seem to be great people. I would love to actually get to talk to the singer there and pick his brain a little bit. Maybe clear some bad light about their stuff that they got going on, but it'd be awesome to be able to actually talk to him and even the whole band. Like, TX2, if you're listening, reach out. Anyways, the trip was in Calgary. It is about a 7-hour drive for me. It took a long time. I was the only one that drove, so 7 hours there, 7 hours back. And I will say, even with the little bit of a hectic trip that happened, it was overall worth it. Really enjoyed myself, and I went with my buddy Paul, and his son. It was actually the whole reason we went was because after the Trinity of Terror tour, when we seen Ice Nine, his kid, his son at the time, who was, I guess, 10, he's now 12, loves Ice Nine Kills. And my buddy and I, since his son looks up to me as like an uncle, we're like, you know what, let's just do it. Next time Ice Nine Kills comes anywhere close, because it might take a while, we'll take the boy, we'll take the kiddo, and actually go and see Ice Nine Kills. Take him to his first real show. And for it to be a metal show, Ice Nine Kills, fucking hectic, wild show for your first show. But, you know, it's his favorite band, so we just wanted to do that. You know, fast forward 2 years, and here we are. It went really well. He loved it. He enjoyed himself a lot. I ended up getting him a hat as like a commemorative thing. Just took him to the merch booth, and I was like, all right, buddy, pick out whatever you want. I got you. And sure enough, he liked the hat. He got the hat. I ended up getting an In This Moment tour shirt. All was well. But on the trip down there was a ton of wildlife. You could see the moose walking around, some deer on the road. Luckily, didn't hit anything. Thank God. But it was a great time. It was a good drive, even though it was long. Though there were some dumb people that we met on the road, just either going way too fast or like there was one road in particular because Google Maps took me some side way for no reason, which made it prettier scenery, but definitely took a lot longer. Not complaining because I enjoy driving, just jamming out to music and chatting with my buddies. But there was one giant trailer. It was pulling like a shed of some sort, just like a building. Took up the whole entire road. And this flag lady jumped out of her truck to get us all to stop. And we all did, except for one jackass that was behind us all. Went zooming right through. And, like, she almost had to jump in front of the truck to get it to stop, which I don't know why she would have. I would have just been like, fuck you, buddy, because he would have noticed. But I understand. She was doing her job. He was just a dumbass. And thank God no one got hurt. Because if he wouldn't have stopped, I don't know if he would have made it, kind of thing. So in any case, it would have caused a huge problem. We would have been stuck on that road forever. So good on that lady. Shout out to her for doing her job properly and just kind of making that person know that he was a dumbass. Anyways, as I mentioned, had an amazing trip, good conversations with my buddy Paul and his son. With it being his son's first show in a big city, first metal show in general, because I believe all that he was taken to before that was a local show I believe was Simple Plan with The Offspring, because they hit up the local venue here, I think a year or two ago. Can't remember exactly how long. I didn't go to that show, but I know that my buddy Paul took him to it. But this was the first real one he's ever been to, so obviously it was a huge deal. He's huge into music just as me and his father are, but we ended up arriving at the hotel when we finally made it into Calgary, and there was some crazy guy. I don't know if he was on something, some sort of like crackhead moment. I don't know. It seemed like he was losing his mind, to be completely honest. He just ran inside and said, "Get out, get down, get out. You need to get out of here right now." Like, and I just kind of like looked at him and looked at my friend and looked at the kiddo, and I was like, should we leave? Should we get behind a wall? Is someone going to drive by and shoot up the place? Like, what is happening? And even the front counter lady was just confused. It was such a surreal moment. I was like, what is going on? Because I'm not from Calgary. I don't know much about Calgary. And even though it seems to be a nice place, for that to be my first like experience of it, for staying at a hotel there for the first time, yeah, wouldn't recommend that. The stay other than that though was good. Not trying to shit on Calgary, even though I am more of a fan of Edmonton and their hockey team, which is the main reason. But no hate on Calgary. Good city overall. Even though we had a hell of a time there. And the guy that was kind of going crazy there, he was also showing like hand signs. I don't know if they were gang signs or what, but it was definitely kind of weird. A very weird occurrence. security ended up coming down, kicking him out. But what a weird time. Just very odd and kind of spooky, I guess, just because, the kiddo didn't. It was his first experience there, too. He's never been to Calgary, so that was a way to be like, hey, welcome to the big city. Luckily, though, afterwards, when I was going outside to put the parking pass on my car, I seen a ladybug in the middle of the parking lot, so all pavement and everything. I'm like, that's got to be a sign for some good luck. I know if you see a ladybug and it lands on you, it's supposed to be good luck. And granted, it didn't land on me, but it was right in front of me, and I will take that for good luck because with all of the things that went on after the show, I will say we must have been blessed with some sort of good luck because what a shit show. What a shit show it was after the show itself. But regarding the show, it was a sold out show, sold out completely. So many people, oh my god, so many people. In this moment, Ice Nine Kills, Avatar, and TX2. It was great. It was an amazing show, as I mentioned earlier. But I did make a big mistake, big dumb, if you will, and forgot to get earplugs. So I had earplugs in my bag, and so I didn't forget to get them necessarily, but I forgot to bring them. So they were sitting in my bag on the bed in the hotel by the time we got to the venue, and at that point there was no turning around. There was no way to go back and get them. We would have missed the show. There would have been, well, maybe not missed the entire show, but with as many people as there were there being sold out, as I said, it would have been a very dumb idea to have to turn around. Luckily, there was this kind lady that was right in front of us with her boyfriend that overheard me just kind of being like, ah, shit, I forgot the earplugs. And she instantly was like, hey, I have an extra set. How many did you need? Because there's at least one. And we're like, perfect. All we need it is for the kiddo. We just didn't want him to wreck his ears. Me and my buddy were lost cause at this point, to be completely honest. The amount of times I can't understand people, I swear to God, is just because of concerts. I should have taken better care of my ears. Kids listening out there, please wear ear protection. It's important. I wanted to for this show just to see how much different it was and to have the kiddo not feel so out of place, if you will, if me and his dad weren't wearing earplugs. But I was an idiot and forgot them anyways, so he still was kind of the one that was wearing earplugs out of all of us. But I did see many people there. Definitely wear ear protection if you're going to see a loud show. It's just the smart idea, and I'm saying that from experience of not doing so. But as I said, when we went into the show, it started with TX2 when he got off stage. I will say I was very pleased with his performance, along with the whole entire band. Got to get a picture with them, met them, and it was really surreal. It was a cool moment to just be like, wow, you did an amazing job, and I didn't really expect anything, I know when your expectations are low, it's easy to blow them, if you will, out the water, but just knowing all the hate and everything, I'm just glad that he put on an amazing show, a good performance, and is such a humble, down-to-earth guy. I would love to, again, talk to him a bit more and really pick his brain. But with Avatar, they went on next. They were a wicked band, wears clown kind of face paint and has a whole ensemble of top hat and a cane and is very, very different but very unique. And I will say, loved their set as well. Definitely gave some energy to the crowd, and some people went absolutely hard for them. It's rare that Canada gets bands, especially a Swedish band. So I'm sure this was probably one of their first few times in Alberta or just Canada in general. Can't say that for sure, but just a thought that I was kind of thinking of. A thought that I had, if you will. And then when they got off stage, Ice Nine started with, again, their whole stage presence was completely different. And it was very intriguing to see how much their budget must have just shot up after their Trinity of Terror tour and tours that followed, since they've been growing so much. They had TVs on the stage, they had a big giant statue kind of thing. I don't know really what to call it, but it was a big statue of the killer from Welcome to Horrorwood, on the one that's on the album artwork itself. And that has been present through the music videos and stuff. Had a giant statue-esque thing of him, and it was just so cool to see it. I'll obviously post some videos of the different, some of the different sets and everything that I ended up taking on my TikTok account. Be sure to go follow my socials at LIGHTSMONARCH if you can, to go see those for yourself, just to give an idea of what it looked like, because I can describe it, but it won't give it justice. But there were two TVs, and they would play like commercials from, it must have been like early 90s, 80s even, to go directly into the songs they were about to play. And I thought that it was a really cool, kind of campy way of doing it. Like, I was a big fan. Gotta say, I was a big fan. But when they finished, and in this moment got on stage, they blew the whole show out of the water. I will say, in this moment, and this is to say without bias either, because they aren't one of my favorite bands. I will say that they blew it out of the water. They were my favorite performance, the favorite part of the show itself. And Maria Brink, oh my God, can she ever scream? Like, insane. Absolutely insane. So I was a huge fan of that, of course. They put on a crazy performance, and her voice, even though some people does say that she sounds bad, I don't know what they're on, because I thought she sounded amazing. Along with her whole like performance, not just Maria Brink, but the band themselves, to see the production they put into the show, the stage that they would have to set up, the costume changes that Maria Brink herself would do, and then the backup dancers. Shout out to them, because they went hard. I was watching them in some of my videos because we were standing side stage, just because the kiddo was getting a little overwhelmed around that point because it was the end of the night. But to see some of the backup dancers, they were going ham. I was so impressed. And to end the whole set with horror, that was something else. To touch on the set list as well, for In This Moment, I have a friend that really loves In This Moment. Shout out to her, but she knows who she is. She's probably listening. She ended up telling me that some of the songs they played were actually ones that they don't play often. Like, the biggest one being Sex Metal Barbie. I guess they don't play that one often. There were a couple other ones that I do have videos for again, but it was just crazy to see that, or to hear really, that they played some deep cuts, or ones that they've always wanted to see. Because I know that they also played in the In-Between, closed the show off with Whore, obviously. What a good song. And there were some others in there. I would tell you the track names if I wasn't so oblivious to what they were. I would really have to go and look and find them. But again, they'll be on my TikTok. Then as the show ended, I got an In This Moment tour shirt and the kiddo a hat, as I mentioned. And I got the In This Moment tour shirt because I missed out on the Whore shirt. I really wanted a Whore shirt. I would have rocked the hell out of that. That song just is so cathartic at its core that I was there screaming it in the crowd. And trust me, I'm not much of a whore myself, but to just kind of like feel the personification and just feel the unity of everyone screaming that in the fucking venue was intense, and such a moment that I'm glad I was there for. I will say though, with venues and again just shows in general, I will have to complain a little bit about the merch prices. I don't know if it's just because of Canada. Again, having American bands coming over to Canada, the prices are going to be a little bit different, a little more steep. But it's not just American bands or bands from overseas. It's kind of all around. And I know that venues take a whole hell of a lot with merch cuts and everything like that. And I just wish there was a way to counteract that. I wish that there was a way to really make that stop, because wow, are not only the merch themselves expensive, but drinks. To get a bottle of water was at least $4. And I know that's probably, some people are listening to this and saying, oh, that's nothing. Like, go to Metallica, which happened the same weekend that we were seeing In This Moment, and pay like $12 for a water and then $15 for a beer or something like that. And I just don't understand why. Like, why are they price gouging us so much? We're taking time out of our busy lives, every single person, to go see a rock show or even just a pop show, any sort of live music. And I know that everyone needs to make a living. I understand how that works, but I just don't know why it has to be so expensive because it makes it so inaccessible for some of the people that use music as therapy, that use music to heal. Because some of these people can't afford to go see these bands, and it's really unfortunate to see because I will say live music is unlike any other, and to replicate that, you really can't without being there. Even through videos, even through live albums, nothing captures it quite as well as just being there yourself. And for that to have kind of like a price tag to it all, like I know that there's no way around that specifically, but there should be a way to kind of lower the prices and just make it accessible for people again. But after the show, regardless, rant over, but after the show, we came out to a thunderstorm. Absolute downpour, pouring rain, leaves and branches were all over the road. The power was out. It was an absolute mess. And the power being out, one would think, oh, the street lights and the actual lights themselves would work. But no, you'd be mistaken, apparently. Not sure why, if it's just a Calgary thing or something that I don't ever notice because I don't drive around when the power's out. The power was out. Everywhere was pitch black. The roads did not have any lines that you could visibly see. They were like indents, not painted white like they should be. It was awful. I was like, I hope I'm in the road. I hope I'm in the middle of the road in my lane that I'm supposed to be because there's concert traffic. And it was just a mess. Downpour rain to where I needed my wiper blades highest setting where they were just going fucking hard. And obviously, with having the kid, we needed to go get food, and not just for him either, because after a concert, you're pretty worn out. Tried to go to a gas station, completely pitch black. And we're like, what the hell? Because at this point, we didn't know the power was out. We were just like, okay, something's going weird here. Something's wrong. Made it to a different gas station that was just about to close. Thank God he let us in and let us buy some food. But we were talking to him, and yeah, apparently the thunderstorm made the power go out. So it was completely pitch black, almost, at least in that corner of the city or that section that we were in. Unfortunate, but at least the power didn't go out at the concert venue, which is now thinking about it, I guess I should be grateful for that and not complain. But I'm going to complain anyways. To have to drive through that now bear with me here. Brand new area, a place that I did not know. So no surroundings were familiar at all. And the roads were completely pitch black and no lines on them. I'm glad that I made it back to the hotel safe and sound, but you gotta admit, it's a little weird to have to deal with that, or a little bit kind of sketchy to have to deal with that. Luckily, we made it back, ended up passing out hard, and then waking up in the morning, getting breakfast, all that great stuff, and driving back. And that... That was a time in itself, because by the time we were about halfway home, it was kind of rainy through the whole drive, but for the last 3 to 4 hours, downpour to the point where there were cars hydroplaning and almost, spinning out on the side of the road. Luckily, nothing bad happened. We made it back safe and sound, but when I tell you my wiper blades got a workout, they got a fucking workout. And yeah, I can say I have some confidence, a little bit more confidence in my driving skills now. But with all that said, and all of that was done, we finally made it home. I got to reminisce on the show itself a little bit, and I had a great time. I can't wait till In This Moment comes back. Regardless of who they come back with, it'd be cool to see them again, along with Ice Nine Kills, TX2, and Avatar. And I really hope they do come back. Calgary welcomes you. Edmonton would as well. I know that they didn't play Edmonton just because of the Metallica show, but all things considered, an amazing time, an amazing show, with some amazing bands and some amazing friends. And if any of you listening like these artists, or went to any of these shows on the Kiss of Death tour too, let me know. Reach out on my socials and let's talk about it. I'd love to hear your experience and really kind of pick your brain on who you like more or who you don't like or why. Just the question of why. Let me hear about your concert experiences, and I will for sure share more of mine soon. And before I leave you guys, I just wanted to quickly shout out to some new music that came out just on Friday that just passed August 30th with 3 albums that I was really excited for. And these 3 albums didn't disappoint in the slightest. They all exceeded every expectation I had. Very happy fan, if you will. And those albums I mentioned in a previous podcast, but they're finally out. So please, if you have the time, go listen to them. Valley, Water the Flowers, Pray for a Garden. Amazing album, especially if you like very soft, indie, reflective music. They did an amazing job. It's the most them they've ever been, and I know if you haven't ever heard of them, obviously this is going to be your first experience, but go give it a listen. It'll make you feel. Second, Palais Royale, Death or Glory. That album, they did an amazing job. I was kind of worried about Palais Royale. I wasn't sure if they still had it with the singles they were releasing. They were all good, don't get me wrong, but I was nervous just being a fan for so long, and they didn't disappoint at all. Definitely exceeded my expectations there. So happy that it did when it was in its full entirety. I understood their vision, and it is the most them they've sounded as well. And last but not least is Haven by Mariana's Trench. Their ability at making concept albums is unlike any other, and no one really stands toe-to-toe to them on production. If you want to listen to an album with headphones on to hear every little bit of every little thing that's just all over the place, give them a listen. They make some kind of like pop rock kind of music. Amazing. I can't even really describe it. You just have to hear it to really understand, because they're unlike any other. Very much musical theater kind of inspired, and you can tell. But all fantastic artists, fantastic bands. Just some albums I wanted to highlight for you all to listen to and check out. In saying that, though, thanks for listening. Go follow my socials, and if you want a discount on makeup, the LIGHTSMONARCH code, no spaces or anything, just LIGHTSMONARCH, still works at Curse Cosmetics. Go follow the link in the bio there and link below to go check out some makeup, and follow all my socials at LIGHTSMONARCH. With that being said, have an amazing day, and thank you again for discovering the music within.